This video will be in English because I think the app Turo has a lot of interest here in the US. So if you subscribe to the channel and you're Brazilian, aguenta firme, vamos de legenda, que o vídeo tá bacana. Everybody that subscribed to the channel and watched the first videos know that we bought a few cars to rent on Turo. For those who don't know, but you probably know since you clicked on this video, Turo is a platform where you can rent your cars to other people. Like people do with Airbnb, with their houses and apartments. You can do that with your car through Turo. The experience in the beginning was very good. Since we started, the first car we started renting was the Camaro RS. It's a car that we love so much. It's a great car that we didn't have any problems with the people who rent the car. So the renters took good care of it. We never had a scraped wheel or dings, dents. The car always came back. Not in perfect condition because it's a car that you're renting. So stuff will happen, but just minor things that didn't even bother me. And then, because the experience was so good since the first day, my wife and I, we decided to buy a new car. To get a new one, a different kind of car that has a different appeal to different people. Of course, the Camaro had the appeal to like couples. So most of the times, I would say like 80%, 90% of the time, the renters were couples coming to Miami to enjoy, you know, the sun and everything that Miami has to offer. But we thought maybe there's also another kind of public that would like an SUV, you know, families that come to Miami to enjoy Miami and then go to Orlando, and they come with, you know, a lot of luggage, a lot of stuff, and they will probably keep buying stuff as they are here, especially foreigners, especially people from Brazil, like myself, where in Brazil things are very, very expensive. So people usually come to the US to buy stuff. Everything here is much cheaper for a Brazilian than in Brazil because of tax. But then was when I started getting a little bit frustrated. The car that we bought is a Mercedes GLC 300. It's a car that I liked a lot. Actually, in the beginning, we were thinking of going with the Camaro flow. So we were thinking of getting the Mustang convertible. But then, because we couldn't find a good Mustang, you know, they were all, the ones that we saw actually, they weren't in good shape. So we decided to get this GLC 300, which was in pristine condition. In the first rental that we had with the GLC, we unfortunately got the news that the car was broken in. The renter parked the car in a condominium, in a condo here in Hallandale area. Apparently a very safe area, but for some reason, someone inside the condo decided to break the glass from the front driver's side, and also it damaged, you know, the trims from the outside. So yes, he called the police. We had everything, you know, filed, but in the end it doesn't really matter because we had to fix the car. That's when the whole thing starts. Because the car was damaged, we had to file a claim with Turo. They use a third-party company to handle this kind of thing. All the attendants, everyone that talked to me was very polite, very professional, but just the procedure, you know, the whole process takes too much time. It's been already 30 days since the incident. The car has been fixed the following days after the incident, of course, because I wanted the car to be rented again as soon as possible. But because they need you to file a report, to find an ASC mechanic to prove, you know, that the car has been properly fixed, that the fluids are okay, that the brake pads are okay and everything, it takes forever. So it's been 30 days since the car was damaged. I haven't been able to rent it again. In the economics perspective, that means that, look at our friend here. They don't have to worry about Turo or money or anything like that, right? So it's been 30 days looking at the financials that I don't have any income in the car. The car is just sitting in my driveway. I can't do much with it besides going to the supermarket with it. But if you're thinking of buying a car, just to rent on Turo, I would highly recommend you rethink that strategy, because there are only two ways in which you can make money on Turo. That's my reasoning. The only two ways are, you either have a lot of scale, so you have dozens of cars, hundreds of cars, and you manage to have a very efficient, infrastructure that people wash the car for you. You have like a warehouse right next to the airport, because that's where most of the times you'll have to deliver the car. In my case, we live very far from the airport. Like during the rush hours, it takes us like an hour 30 minutes to get there. So it might be like 2-3 hours, just to deliver the car. And of course, no one wants to pay for those hours, right? So we can barely charge like $40-50 for the delivery, because otherwise people won't rent your car. That's just the truth. So you either go big and then you start getting customers outside of the platform, because people will recognize you as a professional business and they will come back to you or refer you to other people. Or you go for the risky strategy. Turo doesn't allow salvage cars, but you can definitely buy high mileage cars. By high mileage, of course, Turo limits to 130,000 miles. So maybe you can buy like a 90,000 mile car for a discount, and maybe try to make a profit out of it. The only thing is, usually if the car is too crappy, you won't be able to charge much, of course, and that's one of the things that, of course, that's market, that's supply and demand at its best. But people are renting cars for a very low price, and Turo gets a big chunk out of it. So what ends up happening, it's becoming expensive for the renters, and it's becoming not profitable, not worth it for the people who are renting the cars. Let's say you charge, just as a hypothetical amount, $100 per day for your car. Then you have to choose between 3 insurance options if you don't have your own commercial, which will probably be most of the cases. So you can either pick from the minimum, then the standard, and then the premium. Recently, Turo raised the standard from 25% fee to 30%, so people get the premium, which is 35% discount. So out of the 100, you only get 65. But that's not the price that the renter will pay, because Turo also charges fees and insurance and many other things from the renter. So he's not paying 100 plus tax. They will probably pay something around $150, $160. Of course, it all depends on what insurance they get and so on, but around that. So you're renting your car for 100, you're getting 65, but the renter is paying 150, 160. So it's not a good deal, because you're keeping 40% on the revenue, on what the person who is renting your car is paying. But then you would think, oh, that's because you're paying for insurance. So if something happens, Turo will be on your side and help you out the most. They will help you out, but you gotta read the fine print. Just one example, when the Mercedes got broken in, when the glass was shattered and everything, I tried to report as much as possible what happened, but of course you're not fully happy with the situation. After I got the glass fixed and then managed to go back and forth with Turo, I noticed that the person who broke into the car stole the key, for the lug nuts of the wheel. This Mercedes came with those lug nuts, like that you cannot steal the wheel. So I noticed that got stolen because it was in the glove compartment. So I reported to Turo before all the damage claim was, finalized and everything. And I said, hey, I noticed this got stolen because I'm paying for the premium insurance. Would you take care of it for me? By taking care, I'm not saying they do all this stuff. You gotta find your mechanic, you gotta go, negotiate and everything. But anyway, would you cover this cost for me? And the answer was no, because I did not report that damage in the next 24 hours after the reservation was ended. So, because of course it's a Mercedes, that's not a cheap thing to fix. I gotta find someone, or either Mercedes dealership that is able to take the lug nuts out. I gotta buy new ones and so on. It's not something that cheap. And if you're renting, like my car, you're renting around $60 and you're giving 35% to Turo. So you're not even keeping $40 for 1 day of rental, and you gotta pay, let's say, $250 for the new lug nuts and to take the ones that are in the car out without the master key. I mean, you realize you will take a long time just to pay for those lug nuts. And the same thing for maintenance and stuff, of course, that's on you. Some people, as we all know, won't take care of your car like you want to, so you have problems like I had with a car from a friend. He wanted me to help him rent his car on Turo. He doesn't live here in the US. We rented his car 4 times. Every single time the car was damaged. So his car, maybe, I don't even know, to be honest, but maybe because it's a cheaper car, people don't take as much care as they do with my Camaro, I don't know. So all 4 times the car came damaged. In one of them, all 4 wheels were heavily damaged. I'll check if I have photos. And the door and the quarter panel was also damaged. In this case, just so you see how things work, Turo only paid for me to fix 1 of the wheels, just 1. The other 3, they said that the wheel was already damaged. The wheel had like a little scrape somewhere, you know. I mean, nothing really, but now they had like a huge, almost like 60, 90 degree scrape, and they didn't want to pay for the fix because they told us it was already damaged in the first place, which is not entirely true. So my conclusion is, if you really want to make money, you gotta go big. But if you still consider renting your car on Turo because, as they use on their advertisements, you can afford a more expensive car because the times that you're not gonna be using it, you'll be renting, making money, so the car will actually become cheaper for you. If that's your reasoning, yes, you can do that with 1 car, but as long as you don't get too attached to it, because stuff will happen. And bear in mind that the money you're gonna make is not what you're thinking. It's not as much as you imagine that the car will be paid out with, you know, a few days of rental. That's not true, but definitely helps. It's that mentality of better than nothing, right? Anyways, that's my perspective. Leave in the comments if you think otherwise, if you had a different experience as a host. And if you are a customer of Turo, tell me, what do you think of the platform and how all the hosts have treated you, if it's been worth. If you came this far on this video, thank you very much. This channel is primarily in Portuguese, in Brazilian Portuguese. I'm Brazilian. But if you managed to come to this end in this boring video, thank you so much. Consider subscribing. Let me know if you want more content in English. We can try that. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much. A gente se vê na próxima. Valeu!